Hello, welcome to Babies with Knives. I'm your hostess Alice Pang, aka Lala Twiddle, and this is Crash Course Corner, where I'm going to teach you the basics of playing a system so you'll be ready to get going. Today, I'll be covering Super's Revised Edition. You can look at the cover up on the screen. And Super's Revised Edition is better known as Super's Red. It is a costume superhero system by Hazard Studios. The system is easily adaptable for a variety of settings and genres, but for the purposes of this crash course, we'll be keeping it strictly costume superheroes. The system utilizes multiple six-sided dice, where you roll them, then add the results together. So if you rolled a 2, a 4, and a 6 on 3 dice, that totals to a 12 as your result. The exact number of d6s you'll need at the table will be dependent on the power level of the game, so double check with your GM, but for most games, 3 to 6 dice should be sufficient. If you're going to play, you're going to need to know how to read a character sheet. Today, we're going to be using the character sheet of the Red Wall of the Bastion Saints, aka Dr. Kendall Connor. This character and his entire team were created by Walt Rebelliard, and you can find these pre-gens on DriveThruRPG. I'll be sure to leave a link for you in the description. Stats in this game are written in XD, meaning that many dice in D6s. So as we continue forward, I want you to keep in mind that 1D would mean average for that stat. 2D is excellent. 3D is exceptional. 4D is legendary. This continues on until you get to 7D, which is legendary superhuman. But for the purposes of Redwall's character sheet, we're going to top it at 4 today. Taking a look at our character sheet, you see that the first section is resistances. These 4 resistances are composure, representing your emotional stability. Are you quick to lose your cool in a situation? Fortitude, which represents your physical health and your endurance. So can you take a punch, and how long can you go? Reaction represents your ability to dodge, as well as your initiative. So how fast are you? Will represent your mental stability. This also is your defense against mental attacks. Is your mind a steel trap? So in the case of Redwall, you see that he has excellent of 2 dice in composure, reaction, and will. And he has a legendary fortitude of 4 dice. These 4 resistances act as your defenses. As you take damage and 1 or more of these are lowered. If any of them are reduced to 0, you are removed from combat. Reaction also acts as your initiative roll. As you take damage reaction, your initiative will be re-rolled and adjusted to reflect your slower rate. Let's talk about aptitudes. Aptitudes are skills. You'll roll the number of dice that you have in your aptitude, but you only get to keep a maximum of 3 dice. So you get to choose which 3. Usually it's the highest 3. In the case of Redwall, he is a doctor and scientist, so you know that his aptitudes are medical and technology at 3 dice. He's really good at it. You'll also note that force field tech is at 4 dice, legendary. Well, that's because he's specialized in it. When it comes to anything force field related, he gets to roll 4 dice instead of 3. But he does still only keep 3 dice. You will also note that he has 2 in presence. This symbolizes him being charismatic and noticed. This is his ability to influence situations with his behavior. Now we're going to talk about something a little more abstract. This is powers. Powers are what you're capable of outside of human norm. The exact reason for this can be supernatural, magical, machinery, mutation, or 1,000 other reasons. When using a power, you will roll the number of dice associated with your power and keep all the dice. Powers can be built with boosts that add extra capabilities, complications that make problems when you're using the power, or trade-offs that will make the power more powerful in one situation but less powerful in another. So in the case of Redwall, he has a legendary 4 dice of armor described as Force Grid. You'll note that this time in parentheses, it's a descriptor and not a specialty. He has a boost on this power, allowing him to share it with others. It's called shareable. This 3 dice is not an additional roll or anything like that. He bought it and paid 3 dice in his character gen. Each die gives him an additional target. So in this case, it's 3 targets. His other power again described as force grid, is going to be energy control force grid. And this is where I want to talk a little bit about power of Fu and abstract. You can take this and look at it and say, well, he can create constructs similar to Green Lantern. Maybe he creates hollow armors and goes out and beats them with this force grid generation of armor. Or you can say he builds these electrical looking nets, these force grids, and they slice and dice at the enemies. And there's a lot of different ways to interpret it and access it for different situations. So you really need to have an image of the character you want to play in your mind and how they interpret situations and their powers. Advantages and disadvantages round out a character. People you know, traits, wealth, and luck are just some examples. In the case of Redwall, he has allies in the police department and a lab that he can work in. He also has a supervillain enemy by the name of Sonics. Competency dice, better known as comp dice, are used as your character's build, advancement, and hero points. You gain permanent comp dice through course of play to show your growth and experience. Permanent comp dice can be spent to improve your character or held as hero points for use during play. Temporary comp dice can also be awarded during play. These temporary dice can only be used during given session, and any remaining at the end of the session are lost. Comp dice can be used before a roll to add 1d to your roll for each comp die spent. You can also expend comp dice to stunt an action that your abilities don't normally allow. GM discretion, of course. Have you been waiting for me to teach you how to punch somebody? Well, let's get to combat. When a combat is instigated, the instigator completes their action. Then initiative is determined by each character rolling their reaction dice and totaling the value. Ties are resolved by comparing reaction scores. Highest goes first, then in descending order. When your turn comes up, you may take a move and an action in either order, but you cannot move, attack, and move again. You choose a power or aptitude and describe how you're utilizing it to attack your enemy. Your attack can be social, physical, or even mental. You can think of it in terms of describing a comic panel or shot in a superhero movie. You roll the dice and total your value. The defending character chooses a power or aptitude to use against you. They should also be describing how this is being used to avoid your attack. They roll their dice and total their value. You compare totals. If you tie, defense sets the DC, so offense wins ties. You start at the base of 1 damage, 1d, when you succeed. For every 6 points the attacker beats the defender, an additional 1d is added to that total. The damage is not rolled, but instead the defender reduces one or more of their resistances by a total of amount of damage taken. They must describe how and why it is being taken in such a way. For example, if someone shoots the Redwall successfully for 3 dice of damage with I-beams, Redwall may decide to take 2 in fortitude because it hit him square in the chest and that really freaking hurts, and 1 die in composure because Redwall is becoming a little panicked by the sheer power that was just exhibited. It is important to remember that, in general, physical harm can only be subtracted from composure, fortitude, or reaction. Social harm can only be subtracted from composure, and mental harm can only be subtracted from composure or will. Harm is defined as the damage being inflicted on the 4 resistances. Once this is resolved, initiative is passed to the next person. Once everyone has taken a turn, the next round starts. Anyone who has taken reaction damage in the previous round must re-roll their initiative for this coming round. Finally, we're going to take a quick moment to talk about power level and advancement. Pulp heroes will range from 10 to 15 dice characters, while at the other end of the spectrum, cosmic legends are 40 to 45. Redwall, as an example, is sitting at 27, which is on the high end of superhero category. The cost to advance any aspect of your character is going to be the same as it is during character creation. Discuss with your GM on where people want to start and where people want to go. Check links in the description for more information and resources, including actual plays, character creations, and even a character sheet. Thanks for tuning in, happy gaming, and please don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Bye!